Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
it's going. It's going. It's 4th of July here in America.
Yep,
In
I guess it's a happy 4th of July, and was it 200 and
250 years.
250? That's it.
Yep. And like since it's 250-ish divorce day from a real monarchy. Yes. At least you actually, yes, they do have an actual king, don't they? Like instead of this like poser who thinks he's king, we had. Oh, did I say that out loud? Oh, sorry. Hmm.
I don't
Well, yeah,
recognize any king.
yeah. It's the 4th of July. In it's we've had storms and heat waves and power outages, and then tonight we will have like fireworks going off everywhere, and people having trauma and dogs being miserable. And yeah, can you tell I'm really looking forward to it? Yeah. I sound thrilled, don't I?
Ecstatic. Genuinely ecstatic.
Hmm. Is that how my little smarmy snarky's coming through? Ecstatic, eh? That's a new one. That's a new one. People don't
Mm-hmm.
often call me ecstatic. Well, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite good. Enjoying my break. Enjoying relaxing, not having to absolutely cram every ounce of information I can get my hands on any one particular topic I have I need to study for my uni.
Yeah, you've got at least a couple of weeks, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I got another 2 weeks, I believe, before I have to.
Well, that's good. That's good. So we can get a couple of more of these streams under our belt. It's
Absolutely.
We are on chapter 34, and there is
Mm-hmm.
48, which means we have 14 to go.
Yep.
So we
It's
might
been
even
going
make it.
fast.
We might even finish this year.
I think we will.
Yeah, you think so? I guess
Mm-hmm.
it depends. It depends on exam dates and stuff, and cramming.
Yes, that
Uh,
is. Well, no, I guess. When does I can't remember when semester two ends, but I'm pretty sure it's a few
I
weeks
think it's like
before.
November 19th or something, like November
Yeah,
something
something
or
like
other.
that.
Yeah, I and
Mm.
have not done the calendar.
Yeah, something like that. No, no reason to be thinking about that kind of stuff right now. It's
Hmm.
that's
Oh
for
yeah, don't let me stress
tomorrow's.
you. See my snarkiness. Like I'm all like annoyed, so I'm trying to stress you out to match my energy here. Like, it's like, yeah, Gin and Grace, I hear you about the fireworks. Except for you're not going to believe this. The power's out in the middle of the night, and it's like 2 a.m. in the morning, and people are doing fireworks in my neighborhood. Like insane, absolutely insane. Like, what's wrong with people? I don't know. There is no reason you should ever be out there at 2 a.m. in the morning lighting fireworks. Sorry. It's
Yeah,
just,
2 a.m.'s an interesting hour to be
yep. And
doing fireworks.
I was cranky. I almost let my dog out to go settle the matter. But because this one's brave. This one, he's not afraid of the fireworks. But if I'm annoyed, he's annoyed. And he's going to go out there and get rid of the annoyed. Like,
That that sounds
yeah.
that's a good dog. That's a
He's a
good dog.
he's a good dog. Toro is a good dog.
Mm.
Well, he's a good dog. Yeah. So
So,
it is so rude, Grace. I was very, very annoyed. And well, however everybody is celebrating, I hope you have a good time. I hope you had some hot dogs, some hamburgers. American tradition is like 4th of July is like hot dog day. Like
mm,
it's just, and s'mores and like, fireworks at the end of the day, barbecues, things like that.
the
But
one person you invited over because you know he's going to get way too drunk and fall all over the place, and that's going to be the entertainment for at least a good 20 minutes till the ambulance arrives.
oh, you mean you're not supposed to give them the invitation with the wrong address on it? Damn.
Oh no, that's the other one. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
there's the one person you invite because you know that they're going to cause chaos and it's just entertainment because you always need that one person, and then there's the one person that you pretend to invite and say, oops, I wrote the wrong address, after like a month of them
Mm-hmm.
responding,
Yeah.
wondering what happened.
Yeah. Exactly. Don't disrespect the country. I get that. It doesn't matter who the president is, but still. Oh, the joke was about the monarchy. Yeah. It's not
Mm.
really about the country. So it's nice to see you. Anyway, so shall we get started? What do you think? I was like,
Absolutely.
yeah, you're going to have to
So
keep me
we
on track. I'm not, yeah. Go ahead.
yes, we are up to law 34, and law 34 is be royal in your own fashion. Act
Hmm.
like a king to be treated like one.
Exactly. And this is a very, very good law. Yeah.
It is an excellent law. This is a law. This is based off. What's it called? It's based off. Well, actually, I think this came before whatever uh, the other idea was, but it's the law of attraction.
Hmm.
I don't know what came first, whether it was the 48 laws or whatever the law of attraction, wherever the law of attraction came from. The Secret, that's it. The book, The Secret.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That is a book I will. It's a special kind of weird.
A special kind of weird. Okay, I'll have to put it
Yeah,
on.
because it creates this it's got like this superstitious element to it, but it tries to make itself sound like it's not superstitious, but it's 100% just superstition.
Now, is it called The Secret or is it called The Laws of Attraction?
It's called The Secret. It's it
Okay.
they were that um uh 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 pompous that they were like, I think we should call our book The Secret because it's something that no one knows.
It's like I saw a title of a book once that said everything you always wanted to know but were afraid to ask. And that was not what the book was about at all. I have no idea why it was titled that. It was just like there was no answers in there about anything. Anyway, the way you carry yourself will often determine how you are treated. In the long run, appearing vulgar or common will make people disrespect you. For a king respects himself and inspires the same respect in others. By acting regally and confident of your powers, you make yourself seem destined to wear a crown. And, I'm with this law, actually. There's something to be
Me
said.
too.
I mean, some people think it's all just about being haughty or putting yourself above others, but it's not. It's about setting your own boundaries and having respect for yourself, knowing yourself really well and not settling. I mean, it is an excellent law.
It's also understanding the difference between valuing yourself and being arrogant or over overvaluing
Boisterous.
yourself to a point where it comes across as being self-absorbed.
Yeah, vulgar, like it said, like because, but that would be the transgression of it. That would be over overdoing the law and putting it in the reversal, like making it like, why
Yes,
won't it work? Well, it won't work. Just like a lot of these laws, if you push it too far. I mean, there's a middle ground. There's got to be a line, so to speak.
absolutely.
And the line often in many of the other laws has been about manipulation in how it affects other people. So
Hmm.
in looking at this law, I guess when you think about, well, how does it affect how you are with other people, it would be in the mistreatment, the belittling, or the bullying, or the treating others less than. That would be the negative here. Like, if you're
Yes.
putting yourself above, that doesn't mean you're stepping on other people. Like, how
Mm-hmm.
you treat everybody else is whether or not the use of this law will be successful. You know, because there are good kings and there are bad kings. There are good queens and there are bad queens. And royal
Yep.
doesn't always mean right. Okay,
Nope.
so like it's a good mindset. But for those of you
And
that what? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, and then there's just because you're right doesn't mean you're in the right position.
This is true. And just because you're right doesn't mean you're going to be popular about it either. Like, boy,
Mm-hmm.
do I know that one. But
Mm.
anyway, so for those of you that would like to read along, the PDF link is in the description of the YouTube video. And for I guess you know what? Uh, where I'm thinking that I should have just posted it in the chat because we are also on Twitch. Oh, here we go. Look at me being all professional today. Look at this. This is the
Exactly.
this is the PDF. Just in case you want to read along, because well, usually Rek gets all the observance of the law.
Transcript. No, you get the
Mm-hmm.
observations. I generally get the transgressions.
Oh yeah, because you're the bad boy. You're the bad boy.
Yeah, I'm the bad influence,
Mm.
but I'm really good at it. I am I am, but I do like to remain humble about how good I am at being the bad guy.
Yeah. Wait, before you start reading, it's okay, Clarence. We'll forgive you this time.
Yes. Next time though, we'll make you do push-ups.
Push-ups. Oh my.
Yep.
Hello, Maya, Big Jerry, people coming in. Thank you for joining us. Like, it's gonna be one of those days, peeps. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I would ask for your forgiveness ahead of time, but I'm usually not sorry for anything that I actually do. So not gonna bother. Like, just hope you don't get too upset. All right, so you want to start with your transgression? Let's see. It's
Ab-
Louis Philip. Hmm.
yep.
Are you going? You going to
Absolutely.
France again?
I am going to France again. Hopefully, I don't give up on this.
Okay, don't give
Oh.
up. It's only France. Yeah.
Okay. In July of 1830, a revolution broke out in Paris that forced the king, Charles X, to abdicate. A commission of the highest authorities in the land gathered to choose a successor, and the man they picked was Louis Philippe, the Duke of Orleans. From the beginning, it was clear that Louis Philippe would be a different kind of king, and not just because he came from a different branch of the royal family, or because he had not inherited the crown, but he had been given it by a commission, putting his legitimacy in question. Rather, it was that he disliked ceremony and its trappings of royalty. He had more friends among the bankers than among the nobility, and his style was not to create a new kind of royal rule, as Napoleon had done, but to downplay his status, the better to mix with the businessmen and the middle-class folk who had called him to lead. Thus, the symbols that came to be associated with Louis Philippe were neither the scepter nor the crown, but the grey hat and umbrella, with which he would proudly walk the streets of Paris, as if he were a Borgias out for a stroll. When Louis Philippe invited James Rothschild, the most important banker in France, to his palace, he treated him as an equal. And unlike any king before him, not only did he talk business with Monsieur Rothschild, but that was literally all he talked, for he loved money and had amassed a huge fortune. As the reign of the Borgias king plodded along, people came to despise him. The aristocracy could not endure the sight of an unkingly king, and within a few years they turned on him. Meanwhile, the growing class of the poor, including the radicals who had chased Charles X, found no satisfaction in a ruler who neither acted as a king nor governed as a man of the people. The bankers to whom Louis Philippe was the most beholden soon realized that it was they who controlled the country, not he, and they treated him with growing contempt. One day, at the start of a train trip organized for the royal family, James Rothschild actually berated him, and in public, for being late. Once the king had made news by treating the bankers as an equal, now the banker treated the king as an inferior. Eventually, the workers' insurrection that had brought down Louis Philippe's predecessor began to re-emerge, and the king put them down with force. But what was he defending so brutally? Not the institution of monarchy, which he disdained, nor a democratic republic, which his rule prevented. What he really defended, it seemed, was his own fortune, and the fortunes of the bankers, not a way to inspire loyalty among the citizenry. In early 1848, Frenchmen of all classes began to demonstrate for electoral reform that would make the country truly democratic. By February, the demonstrations had turned violent. To assuage the populace, Louis Philippe fired his prime minister and appointed a liberal as a replacement. But this created the opposite of the desired effects. The people sensed they could push the king around. The demonstrations turned into a full-fledged revolution, with gunfire and barricades in the streets. One night, on February 23rd, a crowd of Parisians surrounded the palace. With a suddenness, they caught everyone by surprise. Louis Philippe abdicated that very evening and fled to England. He left no successor, nor even the suggestion of one. His whole government folded up and dissolved like a travelling circus leaving town. I wonder if it was honking along the way. Interpretation. Louis Philippe consciously dissolved the aura that naturally pertains to kings and leaders. Scoffing at the symbolism of grandeur, he believed a new world was dawning, where rulers should act and be like ordinary citizens. He was right. A new world without kings and queens was certainly on its way. Mm-hmm. He was profoundly wrong, however, in predicting a change in the dynamics of power. The Borgias king's hat and umbrella amused the French at first, but soon grew irritating. People knew that Louis Philippe was not really like them at all, that the hat and umbrella were essentially a kind of trick to encourage them in a fantasy that the country had suddenly grown more equal. Actually, though, the divisions of wealth had never been greater. The French expected their ruler to be a bit of a showman, to have some presence. Even a radical like Robespierre, who had briefly come to power during the French Revolution 50 years earlier, had understood this, and certainly Napoleon, who had turned the Revolutionary Republic into an imperial regime, had known it in his bones. Indeed, as soon as Louis Philippe fled this stage, the French revealed their true desire. They elected Napoleon's grandnephew president. He was a virtual unknown, but they hoped he would recreate the great general's powerful aura, erasing the awkward memory of the Borgias king. Powerful people may be tempted to affect a common man aura, trying to create the illusion that they and their subjects or underlings are basically the same. But the people whom this false gesture is intended to impress will quickly see through it. They understand that they are not being given more power, that it only appears as if they shared in the power in the powerful person's fate. The only kind of common touch that works is a kind effected by Franklin Roosevelt, a style that said the set a style that said presidents shared values and goals with the common people, even while he remained a patrician at heart. He never pretended to erase the distance from the crowd. Leaders who try to dissolve the distance through a false chumminess gradually lose the ability to inspire loyalty, fear, or love. Instead, they elicit contempt, like Louis Philippe. They are too uninspiring, even to be worth the guillotine. The best they can do is simply vanish in the night, as if they were never there.
Mm. That, that shows you one way that very commonly, not only in the courts of France, but in, like they mentioned our president, Teddy Roosevelt, in how politicians often use this to present that, well, you know, they're of the same mind as us. They're just like us, They're for the people, this, that. And we're often disappointed because, the mask will slip and the policies aren't there. And then it turns against them. But what Roosevelt did is, although he didn't make himself available as if he was one of the people, he put himself forward as the president and said, instead of "I am like you," he said, "I understand you and I understand what you're asking for, and I'm going to try to give it to you." And he worked with his wife, Eleanor, to do a lot of programs that actually resonated with the American people right away, with, let's just say, middle class America, like, and did a lot for lower class, poor people in America, and did a lot for children's benefits and education and the beautification of highways and things that, well, you don't often think about, but those kind of things really resonated with the people. So although he had the power and he wasn't afraid to flaunt it, he didn't make the mistake of saying, "I'm just like you," which Louis tried to do.
Mm.
Louis Philip tried to do. And it turned out that they all just eventually felt like he was just making fun of them, I guess, you know? So, marching around in his little outfit and everything. Really only worried about money and making themselves richer. And really, you know, comes a point when people stop listening to the words and they look at the actions. And that's usually when this fails. 'Cause,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah, because you can hold yourself as regal and say it all you want, but if those actions don't match, you know, it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
fail pretty quickly. So since it's the Fourth of July, let's get on to another one. Like, we got a good one here. We got Columbus now for me for the observance of the law.
Oh,
Hmm.
this will be brilliant.
Yes, for the when Christopher Columbus was trying to find funding for his legendary voyages, many around him believed he came from the Italian aristocracy. Whoops, gosh, why does it do that? This view was passed into history through a biography written after the explorer's death by his son, which describes him as a descendant of a Count Colombo of the castle of Curcaro in Monteferrat. Colombo, in turn, was said to be descended from the legendary Roman general Colonius, and two of his first cousins were supposedly direct descendants of an emperor of Constantinople. An illustrious background indeed, but it was nothing more than illustrious fantasy, for Columbus was actually the son of Domenico Colombo, a humble weaver who had opened a wine shop when Christopher was a young man, and who then made his living by selling cheese. Columbus himself had created the myth of his noble background because from early on he felt that destiny had singled him out for great things and that he had a kind of royalty in his blood. Accordingly, he acted as if he were indeed descended from noble stock. After an uneventful career as a merchant on a commercial vessel, Columbus, originally from Genoa, settled in Lisbon. Using the fabricated story of his noble background, he married into an established Lisbon family that had excellent connections with Portuguese royalty. Through his in laws, Columbus finagled a meeting with the King of Portugal, João II, whom he petitioned to finance a westward voyage aimed at discovering a shorter road to Asia. In return for announcing that any discoveries he achieved would be made in the king's name, Columbus wanted a series of rights. The title Grand Admiral of the Oceanic Sea, the office of viceroy over any lands he found, and 10% of the future commerce with such lands. All of these rights were to be hereditary and for all time. Columbus made these demands even though he had previously been a mere merchant. He knew almost nothing about navigation. He could not work a quadrant, and he had never led a group of men. In short, he had absolutely no qualifications for the journey he proposed. Furthermore, his petition included no details as to how he would accomplish his plans, just vague promises. When Columbus finished his pitch, Giles II smiled, and he politely declined the offer, but left the door open for the future. Here, Columbus must have noticed something he would never forget. Even as the king turned down the sailors' demands, he treated them as legitimate. He neither laughed at Columbus nor questioned his background and credentials. In fact, the king was impressed by the boldness of Columbus's requests and clearly felt comfortable in the company of a man who acted so confidently. King must have convinced Columbus that his instincts were correct. By asking for the moon, he had instantly raised his own status, for the king assumed that unless a man who set such a high price on himself were mad, which Columbus did not appear to be, he must somehow be worth it. A few years later, Columbus moved to Spain. Using his Portuguese connections, he moved in elevated circles at the Spanish court, receiving subsidies from illustrious financiers and sharing tables with dukes and princes. To all these men, he repeated his request for financing for a voyage to the West, and also for the rights he had demanded from João II. Some, such as the powerful Duke of Medina, wanted to help, but could not, since they lacked the power to grant him the titles and rights that he wanted. But Columbus would not back down. Soon realized that there was only one person who could meet his demands: Queen
Who?
Isabella. Queen Isabella. In 1487, he finally managed a meeting with the Queen, and although he could not convince her to finance the voyage, he completely charmed her and became a frequent guest in the palace. In 1492, the Spanish finally expelled the Moorish invaders who, centuries earlier, had seized parts of the country. With the wartime burden on her treasury lifted, Isabella felt that she could finally respond to the demands of her explorer friend, and she decided to pay for 3 ships, equipment, the salaries of the crew, and a modest stipend for Columbus. More important, she had a contract drawn up that granted Columbus the titles and rights on which he had insisted. The only one she denied, and only in the contract's fine print, was the 10% of all revenues from any lands discovered, an absurd demand, since he wanted no time limit on it. Had the clause been left in, it would eventually have made Columbus and his heirs the wealthiest family on the planet. But Columbus never read the fine print. Satisfied that his demands had been met, Columbus set sail that same year in search of the passage to Asia. Before he left, he was careful to hire the best navigator he could find to help him get there. The mission failed to find such a passage. Yet when Columbus petitioned the Queen to finance an even more ambitious voyage the following year, she agreed. By then, she had come to see Columbus as destined for great things. It's a little twist on Columbus. Yeah.
Yeah, went from I mean, I guess back then a winemaker's son is would be considered a very modest job,
From
a
selling
very modest
cheese,
position. From
yeah,
selling
from
cheese,
selling
yeah.
cheese to discovering America. Anyway,
Yep.
so the interpretation. As an explorer, Columbus was mediocre at best. He knew less about the sea than did the average sailor on his ships, and he could never determine the latitude and longitude of his discoveries. He mistook islands for vast continents and treated his crew badly. But in one area, he was a genius. He knew how to sell himself. How else to explain how the son of a cheese vendor, a low level sea merchant, managed to ingratiate himself with the highest royal and aristocratic families? Columbus had an amazing power to charm the nobility, and it all came from the way he carried himself. He projected a sense of confidence that was completely out of proportion to his means. Nor was his confidence the aggressive, ugly self promotion of an upstart. It was a quiet and calm self assurance. In fact, it was the same confidence usually shown by nobility themselves. The powerful in the old style aristocracies felt no need to prove or assert themselves. Being noble, they knew they always deserved more and asked for it. With Columbus, then, they felt an instant affinity, for he carried himself just the way they did, elevated above the crowd, destined for greatness. But understand, it is within your power to set your own price. How you carry yourself reflects what you think of yourself. You ask for little, shuffle your feet, and lower your head, people will assume this reflects your character. But this behavior is not you. It is only how you have chosen to present yourself to other people. You can just as easily present the Columbus front, buoyancy, confidence, and the feeling that you were born to wear a crown. So true, Clarence. Just fake it till you make it, too. Faked it till you made it. Yes, I had no
Seems like it's
idea.
the best thing.
I had no idea he didn't come from noble. I mean, how did he get? He got an audience with the queen. I mean, come on. Like, wow. Okay. So there you go.
Just holding yourself to, I guess, even if it's an imaginary standard, it functions well.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's not necessarily having self-confidence in yourself and presenting yourself on your best foot and having boundaries, your self-respect. That's, some people will say, "Oh, that's just another way to fake and be not genuine." And not really. I mean, having self-confidence in what you can and can't do and wanting to do good things and knowing that you can do good things, I mean, why not? That's not fake at all. I don't I don't find that to be fake at all. I don't think Columbus was being fake. I mean, he made up a big story. Yes, he did. Well,
Hmm.
the way the way he walked into a room, in the way he charmed people, in the way he carried himself, let people believe that story, you know? So I
Yep.
guess he did manipulate them a bit by starting a big story about where he came from. but still, he was just out there doing his thing, you know. Nobody asked him if he could sail a ship, navigate, or if he knew the left or the right or the front or the back or anything about seaward. Well, nobody asked. They just assumed he knew. It's just amazing. This is absolutely amazing to me.
Yep.
Very good
He,
example.
I mean, he's he played the game well.
Yeah. Yes, he did. Yes,
He played
Green.
the game very well.
Mm. I can see why Green chose it as an example. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to read the Nietzsche quote?
Absolutely. With all great deceivers, there is noteworthy occurrences to which they owe their power. In the actual act of deception, they are overcome by belief in themselves. It is this which then speaks so miraculously and compellingly to those around them.
Mm.
Friedrich Nietzsche's 1844 to 1900.
So in other words, like, because they believe in it themselves, it
Yep,
helps other people around them. It makes sense. It makes sense. Let's see. So Green in this chapter has said that there are three strategies for conducting yourself with boldness, so to speak, or, you know, preparing yourself for the crown. The
mm-hmm.
first one that he talks about is called the Columbus strategy that we just read about. And that's the one where you make bold demands. You make high, non apologetic demands like title, pay, or terms, and you don't waver. This signals you see yourself as high value. Even if you're rejected, people respect the confidence, and that respect pays off later. Now, the first one, King Zhao II, he didn't take him up on his offer, but he treated him like an equal. He treated him respectful and opened left the door open for other communications later. And that's a big coup, you know. Just because you don't get what you want, how you conduct yourself, they're going to remember. They're going to remember, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just the very fact, and even just the fact that the door was left open is a huge thing
Mm-hmm.
because even even indirectly, leaving the door open means that any conversation that might, you know, encapsulate or be around, say, for instance, Columbus, between the king and some other person, is going to be not is going to be more favorable than if
Mm-hmm.
the king had completely shut him down.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's like, is it not true that people want to be around confident, and buoyant people, people that light up the room, they got stuff to talk about, they're confident, they're smiling, exuding the confidence. Well,
Absolutely.
now it's true, they may not be the best liked because often they're not, but they are very popular. Like, there's always a crowd of people around them. They're like a magnet. Okay. There's always people wanting to be around. They either want to get a piece of the pie, they want to know your secret, like they just feel that, they're going to get good stuff too if they're around you. But like,
Mm-hmm.
definitely a magnet. People always gravitate to them. Okay. You know, uh, it's fascinating. This whole chapter is fascinating to me. Would you like to take the next one?
Yes. The David and Goliath strategy. Aim at the top. Challenge or position yourself alongside the highest status person. This frames you as their peer or serious rival. Psychologically, people reason if they're going after the top, they must belong near the top. And this is also true because
Mm-hmm.
if for instance you are, let's take a professional athlete for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you if you hear someone say that they're a professional athlete or they're a competitive athlete, you think, oh, this person's like for real, for real. They're they're about that. They're about that life. Um, like I don't know. Say someone who came. Say someone who came last in a race, in like an Olympic race, up against, and Usain Bolt was there. Well, for one, they're an Olympian, but
Mm-hmm.
then being in a position where you're racing against Usain Bolt, if you leave out the fact that they came last in the whole entire race, you instantly think, oh, they're actually, they were actually, really competing with Usain Bolt, when in reality they were just competing with everyone else. Usain Bolt just happened to be in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm actually surprised didn't use battle rap or rap as an example, and how
That's
rappers
too easy.
always go to the
Everyone,
top. You tell me all the time, anybody coming up, all the young guys, they got to take out the top. It's like they just go right for it, like take
yeah,
them down, take them down. Yeah.
battle rap is definitely another easy one because everyone says I'm the best, I'm the greatest in the world,
Mm-hmm.
I'm all that in a bag of chips. It's like, yep,
Yep. Tickle on the side. Yep. No,
yep,
I get it. I get it. And, it's like that in anything where competition is there. Like you definitely want to set your sights at the top, and and if you do that right off the bat, you're a contender, right? Whether
mm-hmm.
it's boxing, any kind of athletic sport. Yep, definitely. You just yeah. So that one works pretty good too. So the third one is the gift strategy, which yeah, this one annoys me a little bit, but I can get through it. The gift strategy is equalizing through generosity. Offer a gift or value to someone above you. This says, I am not a beggar, I'm a partner, and implies parity. And then you ask for help or opportunity without groveling, which preserves dignity and perceived status. Um, yeah, I don't see this one working very often because unless you do it like without the actual physical gift, like I've seen people try to make it work with like love bombing, overly confident, like with their compliments to you, offering to help you out with a project or something. Like the gift strategy doesn't actually have to be a an actual gift, just something of value to the person, you know,
yeah,
to 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 get there, to get next to them, to get like there, to like to be considered either part of that circle, part of what's going on, something similar to this person that you are aspiring is above you or has something that you want to aspire to. So, yeah, but it's a
it's
weird
a
one.
very effective one. Very, very
It it
effective.
it can be effective, but in my personal opinion, I think it's very short lived.
Oh, it absolutely is. You have to. It's it's effective in the sense that it in the immediacy it
Mm-hmm.
absolutely works.
Right,
Um,
because
but
generosity and like you take them off guard too, because and I would like to believe that most of us are generous in spirit and are constantly giving all the time. Well, that's not necessarily true, is it? I know I can be a little naive about these kind of things. It's like I want to look for the good, but there's also the paranoid side of me that if you come up handing me a gift or for free, you're going to do all of this. I'm just like, mm-hmm. And what do you want? I'm a bit paranoid. Like I'm just
exactly.
like there's always a price. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's that? No free lunches. You know that saying, right? Like, yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
There is no such thing as a free
yeah.
lunch.
So for me, like this one would cause me to think a little bit. It's not that I would turn down the gift. It's not that I wouldn't take the helpful advice and the help on the project or whatever. Because sure, I'm not a fool. It's free labor. Of course, I'm going to do it. But I'm going to keep my
Mm-hmm.
eyes wide open because I see you. Like, I see you. I see what you're doing there. I've read the book.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see what you're doing there. Which is why we're doing this, right? To get people
Mm-hmm.
familiar with these so they see when this stuff is going on with them. For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure, for sure. Yep. And moving right along. Oh, this is your favorite part. You get to read these. Isn't that a pretty crown? It looks like it would
It's a
fit
very
you.
pretty crown.
Yes, it does look like it would fit you.
It's not big enough.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it.
Well, you know, it's also got to fit my humbleness.
Yes, Mr. Humble.
So the image is the crown. Place it upon your head, and you assume a different pose. Tranquil yet radiating assurance. Never show doubt, never lose your dignity beneath the crown, or it will not fit. It will seem to be destined for the one more worthy. Do not wait for a coronation. The greatest emperors crown themselves.
Hmm.
And then
So
the
you gotta
authority.
you have to watch that with your overly humbleness. That if it swells your head too much, the crown's not
Ah,
gonna fit. Yeah.
nah. It'll work. I can make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Mhm.
Easy. Easy as
Oh,
that.
okay. If you say so.
So the authority. Everyone should be royal after his own fashion. Let all your actions, even though they are not those of a king, be in their own sphere, worthy of one. Be sublime in your deeds, lofty in your thoughts, and in all your doings show that you deserve to be a king, even though you are not one in reality. Balthazar Gracian,
He's good.
1601 to 1658.
Yeah. I I just say I like that. It's like you don't have to actually be the king, but conduct yourself. You see, I think the reason this law speaks to me so much is because, well, I'm one of those real big nerdy pain in the butt people that's always talking about your fortitude and your integrity and keeping your boundaries and not accepting less, knowing your self worth. And so this resonates with me. Like, you don't have to be the king, okay, but have knowing your self-worth, having self-respect, exuding that with confidence so you don't get pushed around, and conducting yourself in a way that you would admire of a king or a queen. In other words, you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to be mistreating people, you're going to be keeping your word, you're going to try to be doing your best at all times, you're going to be put your best foot forward in those things that you find to be the boundaries that you won't cross, whatever they are, making sure that you keep to that. Like there's no reason that you would not keep to them. And that's where your fortitude comes in and your strength to keep that integrity, to keep those boundaries in line and know that, there's a right and a wrong way to do things. And, shortcuts usually lead to problems in everything,
Yes.
whether it be manufacturing or politics or even personal relationships. Shortcuts lead to problems eventually. They definitely do. There's no way around it.
The the faster you get something, the faster you can lose it.
True, true. This, I believe that. You know, yeah. I'm that nerdy
Mm-hmm.
person. Yep, for sure. Okay, so here's one of my favorite parts. Psychologically, why does this work? Why does this work on us? Because you think you'd be seeing a Columbus from a mile away. Like nowadays in 2026, he'd get a background check and they would be like, no way. No way, dude. You are not from royalty. Like you're not related to all these people. Your father
Yep.
owns a cheese shop, dude. It would take like 2 seconds to find out.
He would get cooked.
Yes, yes, he definitely would get cooked. But why does it work psychologically? Because like the first one, self-respect as a signal when you're exuding it. People use your self-presentation as a shortcut for them. If you act like you're worth more, they assume you probably are. They don't have to worry about it. Confident, no needy behavior. It reduces other people's anxiety and it makes them more comfortable deferring to you or granting your requests. In other words, like they don't have to figure out anything. You're presenting it like a full package and coming off as trustworthy.
Mm-hmm. You come across as being. I think one of the biggest things that come from trying to show that you have self respect or something along those lines is that you come across as someone who is more stable,
Mm-hmm.
and in the year of our Lord 2026, stability is something that well,
Oh,
it's a word that I don't think is very quickly able to use
it's
for many
rare.
people.
Stability
Yeah.
is rare in anything, in markets, in people, relation. Like it's in 2026. I agree with you. Stability is well, it's a gem. So anybody who exudes it, like yes, they're going to get
Yep.
far. People are going to
And it.
gravitate to that, and they're going to like, oh, that's so reassuring. It's so easy to be around. There's no ups, there's no downs. It's not an emotional roller coaster. Like it's just even. And isn't that just pleasant? Like you
Mm-hmm.
can breathe, right? It's like they're gonna accept it. They're gonna. There's no. It reduces other people's anxiety, just like you said.
Yep.
Mm. So you take the second one.
Okay. The self-fulfilling prophecy effect. Um. Basically, it's believing you're destined for important things. It changes how you talk, um, how you decide things, and how you negotiate. Um, those behaviors make others more likely to give you genuine status, even if they don't realize it, and further resources. Because, I mean, once again, you come across as a stable person. You come
Mm-hmm.
across as someone who is, um, uh, you come across as someone who is worth investing in. Because over time, that feedback loop, the you act royal, people respond better, you feel more royal, it becomes self-reinforcing, a, a
Mm-hmm.
self-fulfilling prophecy, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
And it,
Kind of like what Clarence said: "Fake it till you make it." If you believe it,
yes,
you put it out there, and people are going to believe it, and then next thing you know, you're believing it because you're doing it, and there you go. It's
mm-hmm,
yeah, right. It just it's reinforcing. You know, isn't that what they say about using affirmations? Like there was the trend of putting the sticky notes on your mirror and making sure when you woke up every day that you said very nice things to yourself, to get yourself going in the day, instead of waiting for others to pat you on the back or to tell you what your good qualities are or what you're going to accomplish, like you do it for you. And it's a big step forward. It's like taking a leap. Instead of waiting for
mm-hmm,
others to say, yes, you can, or why don't you, or you'd be good at this, you do it. And you're halfway there. Who wants to sit around and wait for others to decide anything? I mean, geez,
exactly.
that's giving too much control to others in my book.
One of the worst sayings I've ever heard was "Good things come to those who wait," because
Really?
I've yes, I will die on that hill. I will fight anyone that tries to say otherwise, because I have never seen anyone succeed at anything significant by
by
sitting
waiting
at
for it.
home, eating, and doing nothing.
Yeah, I think that particular saying got blown out of proportion. I think it meant like don't leap before you look, and then they just took it and ran with it, and it's something else now. Because you're right, anything worth achieving is worth fighting for, going after, learning how to do, taking steps forward. You don't really accomplish much by standing still. However, the need for a breath, the taking of a moment before a big decision, not acting emotionally, or if a conflict comes up and it's very chaotic and it's very confusing, to take that time, that's all fine, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't just sit there and wait for it all to solve itself either. It's not going to. Like,
Yep.
no, you know, I agree with you. Not much comes from sitting around waiting for it, you know. I
Well,
think that was just a saying that was supposed to be about patience as a virtue, and yes, it is. But sitting on your butt never accomplished anything, like, at all. I don't believe so. You know.
I I would suggest a rewrite. Not good
Yes,
things, not from good things, not to say good things come to those who wait, but good things come to those who get off their goddamn ass and actually do something.
and take opportunities, take chances, like go for it. Yes, exactly. Okay, so number three, status and dominance cues. Humans are highly sensitive to status cues. Would you agree? Like, like
Mm-hmm.
posture, calm voice, eye contact, lack of fidgeting, and not rushing or over explaining. Law 34 says embody these cues in dignity, calm, selectivity, so people subconsciously slot you higher in the hierarchy. You know, yeah. You present what they find as being responsible and steady, and you just come off as like almost like you've got a superpower that they gotta find, that they gotta figure out, but they
Mm-hmm.
recognize it. Like they recognize it, you know. If you're not like trying to overplease, but you're just, calm, confident. Eye contact and the lack of fidgeting is very important for presenting a calm and self-confident image. Like you know who you are, you know what you're doing, you know what you want. Very important, you know. So
Exactly. And then boundary setting. Um, well, kings have boundaries and limits and limited access. When you don't over apologize or over explain, you signal that your time and attention are sacred. And that that is an important thing to do, is to value your time far more than anything else. Um, Something I like to do is I like to think to myself, can I afford my own time? Is that something that I can afford to do? If I can't, then I need to do something about it so I can.
but it is true because people like to chase what's hard to get, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they do get your time, and they do get to pitch you the idea or work with you or do something, they're gonna be more careful about and not disrespect it. Like it's gonna be more productive, you know, because they put a higher value on it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
There's an increase in perceived value. People chase what feels hard to get, and
exactly.
more cheerful. They're more careful not to disrespect it.
Exactly. It's kind of like when you see in marketing when people do the limited edition stuff. Like, isn't everybody like
Yep.
running out to get it right away? You know,
Mm-hmm.
Don't they get excited when 2 years later it comes back? If it's a good selling profit. I mean, it's a good trick in the market to
The
stimulate sales and to do stuff like that, right?
the best example for that is diamonds.
Yeah.
Diamonds are actually an incredibly common rock. Very, very common in comparison to a lot of other minerals and rare gemstones. Diamonds are incredibly common. However, they only come from, I think, two or three different mines. And because they only come from two or three different mines, the people that own the mines, are able to create a sense of artificial scarcity. So they
Mm-hmm.
only release a certain amount of diamonds every year.
Right. And it keeps the market going, because if
Mm-hmm.
they flooded the market with them, the price would go down. People wouldn't value them as much. They wouldn't be coveted. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
works. So let's talk about the inferiority complex reversal, because psychologically, you know, if you deliberately project confidence even before you feel it, maybe not many people just don't have an abundance of confidence about things. However, if you just like get yourself to project it a little bit, it's going to help you break a learned habit of shrinking back and transferring that shrink back, that, oh, I don't know if I can, or I don't really think I should, or I just need more time for the decision. Like, if you're wishy-washy about it, that's what they're going to see. But if you just get used to projecting that confidence, you're going to break that habit yourself of shrinking back, and o- others are going to start responding differently. And you'll notice the
Mm-hmm.
difference if you start exuding confidence in something. People are you just they're not going to know what it is about you that changed, but they're going to start responding differently to you, and it's going to be more positive. It's going to be really more positive. So, and it's hard to do. I know, like, sometimes these laws, they make it sound like it's all so easy. Just do this, or just do that. I get it's not really easy. I mean, it's really hard to get someone who's a little more shy and timid to like exude power and strength when going into a business meeting. And you know, it just you don't have to be overly confident. You just can't show them how timid you're being about it. Nothing wrong
Mm-hmm.
with like keeping that part to yourself, a little bit, because it will get you farther in those meetings, in interviews, and in socializing with people for whatever it is, whether it be some type of club or something you have to do for work, or even just socially. Um, it's going to get you a lot farther because, well,
Exactly.
basically, psychologically, Law 34 is less about pretending to be a monarch and more about refusing to play the role of a servant in your own story. In
Mm-hmm.
other words, do not consider yourself less than. You're not. Okay. There's no reason you can't play with the big boys. Okay. There's no reason you can't do the things that you want to do. Okay. All you have to do is believe and go forward. Now, I know that means not everybody's going to be successful. Okay. But you're going to get a lot farther than if you think you can't. And that's for sure. I mean, we all know that, you know, the odds anymore are mostly against us. Very few make it to the top. We all know that. But I mean,
Yep.
you can get somewhere comfortable, and you can achieve the things in your life that will make you more comfortable by
Mm-hmm.
believing you deserve them, by believing you can, and putting the right foot forward. Because if you think you don't deserve them, or if you think you're not able to do the job, and you're going to portray that, you're definitely not going to get the job. You're not going to get the opportunity to prove yourself. either to yourself or to anyone else, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk about why they fail.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
So the first one, of course, is arrogance instead of dignity. As in, instead of it being calm self-respect, arrogance is this is insecurity in a costume. Others will pretty much pick up on the difference and resent it. And the worst part about that is that they won't necessarily consciously know exactly what is putting them off of you, but they'll just get put off by you.
kind of
Don't you
like
think?
Louis. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Louis Philip, you know? Um, because they felt like he was actually making fun of them, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
with this little routine there, you know. Boy, yeah, definitely.
Like, for instance, if you act like a king and humiliate and belittle people, you'll create backlash and enemies and eventually a massive uprising that will drive you out of your house into another country,
Into the streets or another
into the
country. I
streets.
like that.
Yep.
Yes.
Or the
Okay.
guillotine.
Oh,
The
yes. Yes. If
guillotine
it
has
was
been
back then.
a
Mhm.
yeah, the guillotine has been a very popular companion to violent uprisings.
Well, do you still use them in New Zealand? Because, like, here in America, we don't have many guillotines anymore. No,
No,
we don't do
no, we
that.
don't. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore.
Hmm. Well, all right. Number two for why this backfires: floating too high above the crowd. Is that another way of saying getting too big for your britches? Like, yeah,
Yes, yes. It's
if you,
not.
yeah, go ahead.
It's not realizing. You got to remain humble and you know
Yeah, but
dignified.
humble, yes, but not the way you say humble. The way you say humble is like so, like not humble. Sorry, not
Oh, I
sorry.
am the most humble.
Yeah, you
Everyone knows how humble I am.
you know
I
you've been
am.
telling me that since the day we met. And yeah, bullshit. You can't do it. Anyway, if you isolate yourself too much or you act untouchable, you become an easy symbolic target for ridicule or attack. You put yourself above everybody, and they're gonna take so much pleasure in bringing you back down. They just like, yeah. And Law 34 warns us directly that an overly aristocratic like pose in the wrong environment can be eminently dangerous. Like,
Mm-hmm.
seriously. Louis Philip, like, lose your head. You can lose your head. If this was France or back in the day, definitely lose your head over something like that. But definitely don't make yourself too big. Confident is one thing. Arrogant in treating others really badly and like putting yourself above everybody else is another thing. It's a fine
It
balance. Yeah.
it's incredibly easy to hit a target that is isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Many a target has been hit when they're isolated, don't you think?
I do think. I do think. Okay. All right.
So the
Next.
next one is no substance behind the aura. If your confidence isn't backed by competency or reliability, people eventually update their ideas to pretty much saying this person is all performance, no results.
Ooh.
This comes down to the idea that actions speak louder than words, because actions will always speak louder than words. Actions have changed the entire world's trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
Very rarely has words done much other than been nice platitudes and
Yeah. Words are
quelled.
pretty. Yeah, words are
Yeah.
pretty. They inspire, they can motivate, but what do they actually do? Like, yeah, it's that you're right. It's the actions. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
get the job done.
And for instance, where is it? Tony Montana is an excellent example of someone who doesn't have the substance behind the aura. Calling it, we could call it an unchecked king ambition, without self-awareness, which ultimately ended in collapse.
Yes, well, for anybody who doesn't know, like I know all about Tony Montana because I am like a big, like anything to do with the mob, like or anything like that. I was fascinated. He's actually a fictional character and a drug lord and the anti-hero protagonist of the iconic 1983 crime drama Scarface. You remember Scarface?
Mm-hmm. Say
Portrayed by
hello
Al
to my little
Pacino.
friend.
Right.
Well,
Yes,
I've got
exactly.
no
Yeah.
idea what accent that was.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. Just
I know, but that's exactly he does say that. Like he does. He does say that with the
yeah.
machine gun before he's like but he actually got too big for his britches. Like he went to the American dream and he's rich and he's taking over everything and the whole thing collapsed around him. It was unchecked ambition, excess, treating people poorly, his own family, wife, sister, everybody. He ended up getting
Mm-hmm.
set up. Yeah, classic downfall. Cause
It's it was basically him. He because at the start, well, I mean not at the start, but sort of as he grew, he did gain success by backing up his aura. He really was that guy who was, the big drug lord, the big
hmm
person who really ran everything. It's just when you start to think that you're untouchable and
hmm
invincible and trying to move like you're invincible that
hmm
you generally start to fail at things. For instance, um, let's take what was his name? Pablo Escobar. I think it
Uh-huh.
was Pablo Escobar.
Yep.
Um, he he was. I'm probably it's probably the wrong person, but I know it was a mob person. But he was basically untouchable. The police
hmm
couldn't get anything on him. They couldn't get him for any of the murders that happened that everyone knew he did or had done. Had done. They
hmm
couldn't get him for any of the drugs that were being trafficked, even though it was an open secret that he trafficked them all. He couldn't. They couldn't get him for anything
Hmm.
except one thing:
Yes.
tax.
Oh, you know what? That's the same thing happened to Al Capone.
That's it. Al Capone, not Pablo. Al Capone.
Okay, Al Capone, this American
Yeah,
gangster. There you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Al Capone. That's who I
Yeah.
meant.
Pablo
Not Pablo.
Escobar isn't an American
No,
gangster.
Pablo
He
Escobar got
he's an
killed.
international drug lord. Like
Yeah.
he's like cartel stuff. That's a different kind of gangster like stuff. But yeah, but
I
actually
knew
I
it
think
was.
they didn't really get to pin much on him either. Because
I think he died in a hail of gunfire.
don't most gangsters die in a hail of gunfire?
Uh, yeah, or getting shivved
It's
in prison.
it's tradition. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, moving on. Sometimes I think they're gonna get us. I really do. Um. Okay. You did no substance behind the aura. right?
Mm-hmm.
Wrong context, wrong culture. Okay. If in very egalitarian or anti elite environments, a royal pose can trigger suspicion, mockery, or moral outrage. Like, I'm not going to go around my neighborhood with a crown and a robe on. Like, no way. Okay. This is like a mini version of Read the Room, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't want to cough off lofty or that you're all that in a bag of chips. Okay. You want to be more earthy or modest, because
Mm-hmm.
that, by fitting in and being comfortable with everyone around you, is going to get you more power.
Mm-hmm.
Putting yourself up there in a room that's really not about that is, you know, definitely not the way to go. So you definitely want to take note of your surroundings because, you know, if you act if you act that way, it's gonna come off like vulgar and obtuse and arrogant. And that's a dangerous game to be when you're trying to move forward in something. Um, because well, there's always somebody more vulgar, more arrogant, and more bracing than you, and they'll have no problem laying you out. So definitely read the room. Make
Yep.
sure you're not going to be putting on airs in a place where airs are not welcome. For sure. You know,
Or don't don't talk capitalism. Don't talk positively about capitalism to a bunch of socialists or
socialists.
communists.
Yeah. Don't go to the meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like read the room. Because there's a way to do it. You just sometimes you got to tuck it in a little bit and not be so confident, especially if you're around a bunch of people who are just like going to look at it like you're just the odd one out, you know. Um,
Yeah. And the last one, internal self-deception.
oh,
Overdoing. I am destined for greatness. Overdoing that idea that you're destined for greatness without ever facing your limits can keep you from learning and making your fragile and make you fragile under stress. And this is very true. If you say, for instance, never never actually look at the reality of where you are as a person or even who you are as a person,
mm-hmm,
then and you just live in this idea that you're perfect, or that you are going to be perfect, or that you are destined for perfection, you're going to miss the fact that you built your entire structure on sand
mm-hmm,
and didn't use very good materials either, because you couldn't afford those very good materials because, you're probably not in a position to
yeah,
be building anything significant.
yeah. But here's the
Um,
thing: if you know yourself, like that's probably the difference is taking the time to know your weaknesses and your strengths, so that when you're
Absolutely.
putting your best foot forward in confidence is with your strengths and you're learning to adapt to your weaknesses and make them stronger. Like you got to be open to the growth, but if you just think that you've got it already and you deserve it, like if you pull a Columbus and say Columbus went
Columbus
out there.
nowadays. Whew.
Yeah, no. Say Columbus went out there with his 3 ships and didn't hire the best navigator in the world to get him there, thinking, "Oh, I've got this." It would have been a whole different story, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
But the difference
If he
is,
went out there, and was like, oh, I can navigate. What's navigating? It's just staring at the stars and going, oh, that one's
oh
pretty.
yeah. If he did like right, But he knew his weaknesses. He knew he couldn't navigate. He knew he knew nothing about ships. So he needed to build a
Mm-hmm.
team around him that did. He honored his weakness and he learned while he was on the ship. I'm sure he picked up stuff here and there, whatever. But he at least he still had the confidence, but he also had the confidence to know he doesn't know everything. And then he has to depend on others to get the achievement, like to get to do it. And that's the difference. Like you got to make sure you don't deceive yourself to thinking, "Oh, I got that." Like no, 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 no. I'm the best. I don't need anybody's help. I'm going to do it all on my own because like you are going to end up doing it all on your own, and it's going to be harder, and you're going to be the only one to blame, and you're probably going to not come in. You're not going to come in on budget. You're not going to come in on time. Like stuff happens. Like know your weaknesses and be prepared to let others in to help with that and to learn, you know.
Yep.
And, you know, it's
And
less stressful for sure.
when it comes to stuff like that, there's two approaches that you can take when it comes to dealing with your weaknesses and strengths. You can either but either approach, you have to first be able to recognize your weaknesses. One approach is basically you figure out your strengths and your weaknesses, and you do everything in your power to avoid anything that might reveal your weaknesses. So you focus solely on your strengths and you just make them better.
Mm-hmm.
So say you're really good at chopping food, chopping up stuff. Well, maybe being a chef would be really good. Or you can do the other way, where you identify your weaknesses, and if your weaknesses need to be stronger to achieve what you're after, you absolutely devote your entire life to strengthening your weaknesses even more than what are your strengths. So you let in a way, you allow your strengths to, you know, you rest on the laurels of your strength and you develop the strength of your weaknesses.
Exactly. Yes, Mrs. Cassandra, that's just so what. Like, yeah. She's like, sorry, not sorry. Anyway, but absolutely true. And they're all definite. Like, and so this is sometimes people's favorite part. I get a lot of comments about our modern examples, and we're not going to go into great detail on that. But let's just say that the modern examples of Law 34 are all around us. We see it in politicians, in entrepreneurs, you know, inventors, high finance, you know, big company CEOs, influencers, okay, you know, whether they be on TikTok or they're running a university like Andrew Tate, they all use Law 34. Some of them successfully. Well, let me just say this: not some of them, all of the men up here have used it successfully at first, but some of them
Mm-hmm.
have used it too much and didn't like tamp it down. Andrew Tate would be one. I will clearly say that, and I don't care if he comes for me. Andrew Tate sold a
Yes.
package that he didn't live, that was actually able to be debunked, and he treated people poorly. He treated the people that were buying into his system like they were beneath him, like they were dirt, like they were never going to accomplish anything. So on the one hand, he's trying to say, here's this great life that you can aspire to if you just do this, this, and this, and pay me money. And on the other hand, he's like, well, you should just give it up because you're not paying me enough, and you're never going to be me.
Yep.
Like, and so, wow, collapse of an empire. Okay, done. All right, unmasked. Okay, because no one can doubt the confidence is there. The man struts around like
Absolutely.
a peacock. Like Jesus Christ.
His entire success did involve his confidence and his
Exactly.
ability to hold himself as king, as a superior to anyone else around him, and
It, it,
that aura that he emitted, that brought him so much. I mean,
it
he
did.
was able to lease so many exotic cars.
Oh
He was
yeah, he
able
had the
to.
money. Yeah, but
Hmm.
here's the thing: the words were there. He was selling the package. The words were there, but the actions weren't. The actions weren't. The way he treated people, the laws that he broke to do it, how he acquired the money, the scamming, the like, you know, the actions are what did him in because they didn't match the words that he was saying. You know, he was
Hmm.
like, hold yourself with integrity and believe yourself. Like he used words like integrity and fortitude. And then you find out he doesn't have any, you know, um, or that his integrity levels are a little different than we had thought. It's eye opening.
Exactly.
You know, um, one you cannot actually go against. A perfect example of Law 34 with holding yourself to your own boundaries, your self confidence, making yourself scarce, and being available but not too available. Keanu Reeves, okay,
Yeah.
um, keeping his private life private forever, keeping his boundaries. Being so stable, so consistent, so calm. Have you ever seen well, not when he's acting because the John Wick movies are not exactly calm, and neither is the Matrix. But
Mm.
Keanu Reeves himself is like is like the embodiment of Zen,
He
like
is.
unruffled,
Yep.
unruffled, and that exudes confidence. It makes you want to be around him. He's like, I want to have dinner with him. I want to take him everywhere we go. Like, there's no place Keanu Reeves won't get invited to.
Hmm.
So they like the perfect example. And the others, as politicians, good or bad, whether you like them, whether you don't, they are very good at Law 34. Some of them in their, boundaries and their ideas, others in just like, I'm the shit, like do it my way because I've got the answers. Like, however they're doing it, like it's everywhere in politics, everywhere in politics. And even in inventors and entrepreneurs in big business like Elon Musk. Let love him or
Hmm.
hate him, Elon can sell an idea and get the money behind him. He exudes the power of yes, we can when he's getting people to spend their money for a project that he's putting together. It's true. Love him or hate him. He's very good at
Yep.
it.
He
Very good
is.
at it. Yeah.
He's been able. He has actually been able to well, make quite lofty claims, and people will and have stayed on his side. For instance, the Hyperloop. He promised this super fast, vacuum tubed, uh, uh, um, rail system that would allow people to travel from one place to another in fractions of in like an hour where it would normally take
Mm-hmm.
16.
Yep.
But it it never materialized, but people still back him because his ability to um stay and appear as someone of super, I mean, he in a literal sense, yes, he is super high value,
Mm-hmm.
but he's able to portray that, he's able to project that as a reality.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, like, there's been a lot of a lot of people. So something that I learned a few years ago is that people who are like ultra rich If you met them in real life, you would have never guessed it. They do not move like they are like they're that well off. But
like
when they're
that
in
we
their
would think
element,
they would. Yeah.
yeah, when they're in their element, when they need to be, they turn into the Elons, they turn into the Andrew Tates, they turn into the Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not so much the Andrew Tates, but the Keanu Reeves, the Obamas, the Elons, and that's where a lot of their power comes from.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely. Ah. So those of you in the chat, if we haven't put you to sleep, we've got questions. And those of you listening later, or those of you that are listening now that aren't in the chat, because I see quite a few of you up in the corner there, um, try to answer some of these in the comments for us. Like, well, let me start with the first one, and I'm going to ask you, Rekkr, and then you can ask me the
Mm-hmm.
second one. Okay. Where is the line between healthy self respect and fake royal arrogance? And how do you personally tell the difference?
That's actually pretty easy. It is. Does someone get is someone victimized by your actions or your attitude? Is someone, for instance, with your if you keep your self respect, um, does someone else have to lose theirs for you to maintain it? And if they uh, actually, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. I should rephrase that. Does someone lose their own respect unjustly
Mm-hmm.
because for you to keep your own self-respect? If
Oh.
someone, if someone doesn't, let's say someone else is being a complete twat,
Mm-hmm.
and you bring them down a peg or two because you have your own personal self-respect. They deserved it. They 100% deserved it. I don't care. You can say whatever you want. If they're being a prick and you take them down a peg or two because you've got your own self-respect, that's fair game. However, if, for instance, to maintain your self-respect, you have to take someone who is, let's say, an innocent party and chastise them or belittle and otherize them and make them inferior where it is unnecessary, then it's. I think that is a that goes from being holding yourself, keeping self-respect to arrogance
Yeah,
and being fake.
exactly. Bullying, and it shows your
Mm.
insecurity. Yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
person's not a threat to you. In like, what do you really get to gain? You actually lose, right? You lose.
Mm-hmm.
In your status when you do that to people.
Well, integrity is the most important thing to maintain in anything. You can you can do anything you want in the entire world, no matter what, as long as one, you're willing to deal with the consequences, and two, you maintain your integrity.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
So number two, our second one is think about a boss, politician, or celebrity you know who clearly acts like a king or queen, and do you feel more respect or more resentment because of it?
He, uh, I will say that I probably starts out as respect until they can't hold it, and then I would lose respect quickly when the masks kind of slips. You know, we're all
Mm-hmm.
we all face this all the time, especially out on YouTube or Twitch. Like, I watch a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Twitch channels. Like, there's a lot of people doing political commentary and stuff like that, and the mask slips really quick sometimes, you know. Um, I'm not one that bows down. Like even though somebody like you know like say I'm a YouTuber, you're a YouTuber, I'm not one to run away from somebody who's got like 800,000 subscribers or a million subscribers. Like they're people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be a little brazen. I'm going to talk to them, like like they're people because it don't matter to me. But I will say that I am often. It mostly happens to me in politics, in movie stars or musicians. When I find out
Mm-hmm.
something terrible about a musician, like I love the music and this, that, the other thing, and then they do something horrific that is just against my boundaries, against what I think is right. It becomes very difficult for me. Um, it's hard for me
Yes.
to separate it because, like, yeah, like I feel resentment. I feel resentment that you stole what I thought about you. You stole my dream. You stole the image that I had of you, and I feel fooled. I feel tricked. Like, yeah. So
The
resentment,
idea that you should
yeah,
never meet your heroes, right?
exactly. I mean, they're all human, and we do it to them, and it is too hard a
Mm-hmm.
price, to put up there. You know, yes,
Absolutely.
Mrs. Cassandra said Diddler. There's one like fell from grace totally. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
anybody will ever look at him the same. Like it would be difficult. But let
Yep.
me get your next question out there. Um. Oh, have you ever changed how you carried yourself? Stopped apologizing, set firmer boundaries, and noticed people suddenly treating you differently.
Hmm. Um. Yeah. Or at the very least, I do try to change certain aspects in the ways that I carry myself. Um, and I do notice that if, for instance, how I'm changing myself is positive, generally there will always be a group of people that first will be resistant to you changing or
Mm-hmm.
resistant to you wanting to change because they might remember you for who you used to be. Like for instance, if you were a if you were I was gonna say a cobbler for some reason, but there's no but a like who's a cobbler in the 2000s. Let's say you're a cashier at a McDonald's,
Mm-hmm.
and then you become a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of your friends who remember you as a cashier at a McDonald's is going to just look at you like one.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you change and you carry yourself as more of a businessman or a financier.
Mm-hmm. Especially if they haven't moved with you. Like if they grew with you
Exactly.
into their careers, that's one thing. But for those who didn't, like it's tough to go back home. Like it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's tough to go back home to the old neighborhood if your friends haven't moved out of the neighborhood when you did, so to speak. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I get that. I get that. Okay.
Hmm. In
Yeah.
today's culture of relatable influencers and politicians, do you think acting royal in your own fashion still works? Or do audiences punish that now?
Yes and no. It depends on the culture and the environment. I would say in politics it still works until the mask slips. Like it's a fine line. Like you really have to try to be more genuine. People respond to confidence. They do. Um but but the other thing is if you hold yourself above them, like say out here in the YouTube or Twitch communities, people want to relate to you on an even level. They don't want to think you're bigger than them or better than them or have something more going on than them. They just don't. But that's not the same in the business world or in politics or even in like Hollywood or the music industry. Having that having that confidence that you have something that other people don't, it still works. Okay, believing that you're the one lets other people believe that you're the one. And in those
Mm-hmm.
industries, it's almost necessary to act royal because
In
otherwise you are left behind. You are so left behind. You're not going to get the opportunities, you know. Yeah.
absolutely, especially well, the entertainment industry is the best example of this of having to it's not even a decision that you can make in the entertainment industry. It is a must. You must
Mm-hmm.
have that sense of acting royal
Mm-hmm.
um to to even get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
um but I guess where would it not work as well? I guess if, say, for instance, you were meant to be a monk, like a Catholic monk, acting royal is going to make people look at you in an entirely different light.
True. But like I'm sure they wouldn't put the monks in here. I don't think they want the monks to go around acting royal. However,
No.
are they going to be calm and serene and act like they got the answer? Absolutely. Um,
Mm-hmm.
well, the thing is, today's culture is a little more judgmental, in a little more like paranoid about getting the wool pulled over their eyes. So, although it's necessary to be confident and have your self-respect and put your best foot forward and believe that you can, you don't want to oversell it because they're going to be looking for it. Like you got to be a little more careful, I think, in 2026 than say 2000. You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
the internet, like they'll search on you. I mean, Columbus would never get away with what he did in 2026. You know, somebody on that court would have searched him on the internet, found out that he was related to the cheesemaker. It would have been the end of it. They would have laughed him out of the court. Okay, the royal court would have laughed him out and maybe taken his head for trying to fool them. Um, it's a different environment now. Like people check everything out. They want to believe. So you want to sell your best asset. You want to believe in your best things. You don't want to oversell it. You definitely don't want to go out there and say you can navigate a ship if you can't.
Yeah. Or
That's it. Yeah.
well, I mean, actually, there was that guy who flew commercial airplanes for like 30 years and never had a pilot's license.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He
And you know what? That's where people like are really pissed off. You know that question we said, do you resent him? Because if I flew those airlines and knew he did, like I am very like, how dare he take my life into his hands like that? That's that's a bad thing. Stop that.
the crazy thing is, the only reason they found out was, I think it was like he after he had retired, and they realized that like his name wasn't actually in the books,
Wow.
which blows my mind because the you have to go through
That is a
serious
series.
training.
And you know what? That's a series of so many people not doing their job.
No,
Like
no,
yeah.
this isn't not doing your job. This is just straight up the job apparently didn't even exist when it came to him. He walked into a room, he was a pilot. Anyone that could confirm or deny it, they didn't actually even exist.
Oh man, I don't know. Anyway, that's just too much for my brain. Absolutely, it is just so it's horrible. I don't like the fly as it is. Like, it's just horrible.
To be honest, that's a I kind of have some mad respect for the guy. He literally had probably hundreds of thousands of people's lives in his hands, and he completely faked it till he made it. And he didn't even make it. He just faked it, but was successful.
All
And
right.
by the way, please, if anyone is thinking of trying to do something like this, who's
Don't.
listening to this, don't. Just
Not
don't.
cool.
It's not worth it. You're
It's
not
not
that
cool.
guy.
Yeah.
You're not going to be. If you, no one is ever that guy knowingly. If you think
Mm,
you're that guy, you're not that guy.
right.
You're just not that guy. You can think
Hmm.
that you are. You should maintain an air that you think that you are,
Yes,
because
but you
this
don't.
is that's exactly
Yeah.
what this entire chapter is about. But
But
keep
no,
reality in your hands.
yes.
Don't
Reality
let
check.
go. Don't entirely let go of reality.
Hmm.
You can loosen your grip on it, and have a little bit of delusion, because most people who succeed a lot in life are pretty delusional. It's just
Hmm.
they succeed at what they do, so it
Hmm.
doesn't come off that way. But you
Uh,
should always maintain a firm grasp on reality.
try anyway. Try.
Yeah, or at least try.
All right. This is a tough one for you. You're going to have to really think about this. If you applied Law 34 in your own life this year, what's one situation, a job interview, a courtroom, relationship, whatever, where a more regal bearing could change the outcome? More self respect, confidence,
Hmm.
an air of success.
Well, it's hard for me to think of, because I am someone who, maintains genuine, humble ideas,
Oh,
and
wait. Oh, oh, oh.
and I and I always try to
Okay, you're killing me,
exude a
Paul.
sense of modesty. So, um, let me see.
Okay,
I don't
Mr.
know.
Humble. Yeah. You're not going to take this seriously, then, are you? I mean, does anybody in the chat want to help me out with one? Yeah.
I
Hmm.
think here's a good place, actually. You know, when you're having to present something to people, when you're doing a presentation, um it's always better to come across as more
Oh, yeah.
confident,
My
more.
confidence gets me through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
My appearance of confidence always gets me through everything.
I'll tell you, I am waiting. I'm waiting for the comments on my last recap for the Larry Miete trial, because like I write my own scripts. Like these. I don't know if everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
I do my narratives and everything like that. And one of the sentences was to say scratches from bushes, but I forgot the H and I wrote it like buses, and I actually said it like that in the video. And the video was like 30 minutes long, and it was one word, and I left it in there. That's how confident I am that I'm gonna be like, this is it. I talked to myself. I said, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody mispronounces stuff. If they think that I could sit up here for 45 minutes and talk and not mispronounce anything or not make a mistake, well, they're better than me. Like, let them have at it. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just human. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to put my breast ones out there. I left it in.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, one word. I mean, would you have edited out one word? Like,
No, probably not.
because the context of the sentence, like what I was trying to say, like, but
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like buses instead of bushes. It really does. Like, or it sounds like I'm trying to do some really weird accent. It doesn't go with anything else. I don't know. It was like pretty good.
Just blame it
Yeah.
on one of your apparently hundreds of accents that you have.
Oh yes, I do. Just pulled one out at the wrong time, and there it was. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, 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 yeah. All right, I think it's time for the reversal. What do you think?
absolutely.
We're doing good on time. I'm so proud of us. I shouldn't have said that. I just called the devil. Something's going to happen. Hope not. All right. It would have been good if I had the page up already, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So here you go. Hey, I'm human, people. It's like that. So the reversal. And this is right from Green's book. And the idea behind the assumption of regal confidence is to set yourself apart from other people. But if you take this too far, it will be your undoing. Never make the mistake of thinking that you elevate yourself by humiliating people. Also, it's never a good idea to loom too high above the crowd because you make yourself an easy target. And there are times when an aristocratic pose is imminently dangerous. Charles I, King of England during the 1640s, faced a profound public disenchantment with the institution of monarchy. Revolts erupted throughout the country, led by Oliver Cromwell. Had Charles reacted to the times with insight, supporting reforms and making a show of sacrificing some of his power, history might have been different. Instead, he reverted to an even more regal pose, seeming outraged by the assault on his power and on the divine institution of the monarchy, and his stiff kingliness offended people and spurred on the revolts. And eventually, Charles lost his head, literally. So understand, you are radiating confidence, not arrogance or disdain. Finally, it is true that you can sometimes find some power through affecting a kind of earthy vulgarity, which will prove amusing by its extremeness. But to the extent that you win this game by going beyond the limits, separating yourself from other people by appearing even more vulgar than they are, that game is dangerous because there will always be people more vulgar than you, and you will easily be replaced the following season by somebody younger and worse. Good advice. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Robert Greene.
Absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Well, talk about good timing. 7:58. Dang,
Right.
dang. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. Those of you in chat, it was very good to have people here. And it's nice to see you. Thank
Yes.
you to the moderators, you know. Thank you to everybody that will be watching this later. And to those of you that I can see up in the quarter that are watching now, don't be afraid to leave us a comment. I'm going to get Rekkr to answer some of these comments. Like I am. I am. Matter of fact, I'm going to make him do all the comments this week. I'm exuding my self confidence.
Fair. Fair. Oh, I do need to make one addendum. I said leased. I said Andrew Tate leased the cars. Apparently, that was incorrect information. From when I heard it, he does actually own them.
No, he leased the majority of them. You were
The
correct.
majority of them, yes, but
Yes, and you want to hear worse than that? He leased them in other people's names because that's what's in the new indictment that he's going up for. Because when
oh,
Romania gave him the cars back, he was supposed to like keep them as collateral because like against his charges, and he went and started the people started turning them in and this and that, and so he doesn't have them anymore, and he's in big trouble with them. But you were right,
oh,
a lot of his wealth was leased and leased in other people's names. he
okay.
did he
And
did own, I think, 3 out of the 16 cars, but that's not the
I know.
majority.
Oh, wait. He only owned 3 of them.
I think he only owned 3 of them, and I don't even think they were in his name, they just weren't leased.
I know the Bugatti was, if I
The
remember correctly.
Bugatti, the Bugatti is in his name. The Bugatti is in
Yeah.
his name. Yeah.
But okay. Well, in that case, I take back my addendum to the addendum. No, it was
Is
in
it the
fact
addendum? Yes, like
mostly a
but
lease,
yes.
mostly leased.
And in
But
case,
he was still able to afford
yeah.
expensive cars here and there.
Yeah, I am keeping up on it. Be prepared, everybody. You're going to be getting an Andrew Tate review pretty soon. Like this is not. I have not stopped. I'm on it. Like I have it all. Like it'll be coming out soon. I've just been tied up with another trial lately. But yeah, yeah. I see you, Andrew. Don't worry. The update's coming. It's coming. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say. Except for thank
Yep.
you, everybody. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
please please let us know how we're doing. Hit us up in the comments. It's Rekkr's week. I want to see how he does. Give him something to work with.
Absolutely. Give me some good questions.
All right. On that, I think we're going to sign off. What do you say? You got any last words?
Absolutely. If you're gonna fly high, don't be Icarus.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Chris. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank
There
you
we
for
go.
coming, everybody. Have a great night. Happy 4th of July to the Americans and everybody celebrating. For everybody else, have a great weekend. And we'll see you again with next weekend, yes?
Yes,
All
absolutely.
right. Good night, everybody.
Night. See ya.